Time travel might be a cool concept that has been a huge part of classic movies such as Back to the Future. However, could it actually be a real thing? The following story about a mysterious Pan Am plane may have answered that question. A time-traveling plane? The mystery of Pan Am Flight 914 has driven historians and skeptics crazy over the last few years. This begs the question, how did a plane possibly land 37 years after originally taking off? Time for Takeoff. This incredible real-life story began all the way back on July 2, 1955 when Pan Am Flight 914 was scheduled to take off from its airport in New York. The plane was believed to be transporting 57 passengers and 4 crew members to Miami. It seemed like it would be a normal flight for everyone involved. However, this would prove to be far from the truth. It turns out that something mysterious happened that would set this bizarre story into motion. It vanished after it took off from New York. It wouldn't take long before air traffic controllers lost signal of Pan Am Flight 914. Just like that, it had completely disappeared from the radar and no one understood what had happened. Not only was there no indication that the plane had crashed somewhere remote, but there was also no sign of bodies of any of the passengers or crew members that were aboard. There were no leads whatsoever, for 37 years, at least. Tragic losses. After an intense investigation, the authorities concluded that the plane must have crashed and that all of its passengers and crew must have died too. They were unable to locate the plane and came to a conclusion that it must have crashed in the sea somewhere, seeing that no plane had been found on land. As a result, the airline compensated all of the families of everyone involved with death benefits. However, those families were in store for some shocking news 37 years later. 37 years later. Fast forward 37 years later and something absolutely remarkable happened. It was September 9, 1992, and the setting for our incredible scene was an airport in the capital of Venezuela, Caracas. It seemed like a normal day at work for all of the air traffic controllers. However, something would soon come to pass that would completely take them by surprise. A DC-4 Douglas aircraft appeared out of nowhere and had not even been picked up by the airport's radar. What did this mean? Introducing Juan de la Corte. One of the key figures who played a huge part in this Pan Am mystery was an air traffic controller by the name of Juan de la Corte. With the rest of his team, Juan turned up to work that day not expecting anything out of the ordinary. However, he ended up being completely wrong. With this mysterious DC-4 Douglas plane in his sights, he had no idea how it managed to evade the radar, or what it would do next. It wouldn't take long before Juan de la Corte got a contact signal from the Pan Am plane in question. Amazingly, it was the pilot who had somehow managed to appear without being traced on their radar. "Where are we?" the pilot asked. He then confirmed something that completely took the air control by surprise. "We are Pan American Airways Flight 914 from New York to Miami with a crew of 4 and 57 passengers," he said. So what did Juan do? This initial report was followed up by a strange detail, that the Pan Am Flight 914 had gone in the wrong direction by approximately 1,800 kilometers. Confused by this statistic, Juan was quick to ask the pilot some important questions. These included if they had experienced some sort of crash and if they had failed to make contact with anyone else. And although he cleared the plane for landing, it was what Juan heard next that truly took this story to the next level. Everything seemed to be going to plan as the plane touched down and brought itself to a stop. However, Juan then heard the pilot say something that completely baffled him. "We were scheduled to land in Miami at 9:55 a.m. on the 2nd of July 1955, the pilot said nonchalantly. Juan was quick to confirm to the pilot that he had actually landed in Caracas and that it was, in fact, May 21, 1992. Also, Juan was bewildered when he first laid eyes on the plane. When Juan first laid eyes on the mysterious Pan Am Flight 914 plane, he was shocked at how outdated it looked. He specifically used the term rugged to describe the aircraft. Unlike other planes that looked pristine and modern, this plane looked like it had come from another universe. However, he tried to overlook its unorthodox appearance and continued to liaise with the pilot. It was at this point that the pilot did something that Juan never saw coming. Juan was simply telling the pilot what day it was. However, as soon as he heard this, the pilot erupted into a fit of panic and yelled, "Oh my God!" On the radio, the air control team could also hear the many passengers screaming and panicking. As a result, Juan ordered a group of security guards to go down to the front and escort the people out of the Pan Am plane. But then, Juan was in for another big surprise. The air control team had no worries that the security team would be able to calm the crew and passengers of Pan Am Flight 914 and bring them into the airport. However, as soon as they approached the plane, the pilot instructed them not to get any closer. Then Juan heard on the radio the pilot screaming, and saying, "No, do not get near. We are leaving now." Surely enough, the plane took off once again and disappeared. But to where? According to Juan, the plane once again was untraceable on the radar after flying back into the clouds. In light of this, the airport sent 3 jets out to try and track down Pan Am Flight 914. Nevertheless, they were unable to locate its whereabouts. Despite this, it certainly wasn't the end of the story. Another report claims to have identified the plane and its passengers' whereabouts just hours after the Caracas fiasco. It had reportedly arrived in Miami. Reportedly, just a few hours after abruptly departing Caracas, the Pan Am plane landed at the airport that it had supposedly wanted to fly to all those years ago, Miami Airport. Naturally, the staff in Miami were just as perplexed about the plane's arrival as Juan de la Corte was. Upon its arrival, the staff checked the back office and, sure enough, they learned that the very same plane had previously taken off in New York on July 2, 1995. It made sense that the staff at Miami Airport had plenty of questions for this mysterious plane. It would be a few hours of interrogation before the airport decided what it wanted to do with them. Ultimately though, they let the passengers and crew go so that they could return home and reunite with their families. However, there was something even creepier at play here that would end up taking this story to a whole new level. Amazingly, the family's biggest surprise wasn't the fact that they were able to finally reunited with long-lost relatives who they believed had died many years ago. What surprised them even more was how they looked. Apparently, all of the passengers and crew looked exactly the same as they did when they first took off back in 1955. While their families were 37 years older, they hadn't aged at all. Also, it was a mystery as to how the plane could still run after so many years. It seems that the more people learned about this bizarre story, the more questions they had. Up until this day, there seemed to be zero concrete answers to a number of hard-pressing questions. Firstly, where was the plane during those 37 years? Secondly, if the following is actually true, how did the passengers not age at all? One popular YouTube expert in the supernatural and strange phenomenon has recently attempted to try and answer these questions, and many more. One YouTube channel that seeks to find the truth about supernatural phenomena is Alien Investigations. On this channel, the host dedicated an episode to the mystery of Pan Am Flight 914 and gave a detailed account of all the information he had collected over the years about the incident. Although he came to the conclusion that he didn't believe in the story, he did find some fascinating details from a variety of sources that neither proved nor denied its validity. One of the theories presented was that the Bermuda Triangle had something to do with the plane's mysterious disappearance. Over the last 70 years, a number of planes have been the subjects of incidents attributed to the Bermuda Triangle. A notorious body of water in the Atlantic Ocean, the Bermuda Triangle has reportedly claimed numerous planes over the years, with the most recent cases happening in 2017. However, investigators have played down the Bermuda Triangle having played a part in Pan Am Flight 914's disappearance. Despite the mystery of Pan Am 914 being nothing short of amazing, there isn't actually much proof suggesting that it actually happened. Seeing that only one newspaper mentioned the event on 3 separate occasions, Weekly World News, it is difficult to take the story seriously. While some articles suggest that the plane reappeared after 30 years, others state that the event happened 37 years after the plane first took off. Furthermore, it gets even more confusing when you look at the finer details. Not only did the articles from the same newspaper contradict one another, but they also used differing images for the same key figure involved in the story, Air Traffic Control Juan de la Corte. Despite having the same name in both accounts, the same newspaper used different photos for the same person, causing much confusion. Despite the high chances that Weekly World News might be guilty for reporting fake news, there is one fascinating detail that might actually prove the event after all. Could this potentially be evidence of Pan Am Flight 914's ability to time travel? It seems that something happened in that defining moment when Juan was just about to calm the passengers and the pilot decided to fly away again. In the heat of the moment, the pilot reportedly dropped something, which fell out of the plane's entrance. It was a classic birch pocket calendar, which was specifically from the year 1955, the exact same year that the plane last took off. The Pan Am mystery is just one of many others that have captured the imaginations and perplexed millions of historians. Every story is as mysterious as the next, and the one thing that many of these cases have in common is that they still don't have a definitive conclusion until this very day. Whether it's the classic story of the disappearance of Amelia Earhart or the Egypt Air Flight 990 of 1999, every story seems to be laden with the sense of mystery. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Also make sure to click the bell not to miss any of my posts. Thanks for watching.